And we get our opening here. I'm going to be a little quieter for it. Thank you, Falcom. The Legend of Heroes, Trails of Cold Steel. And that's the end of our prologue, everybody. Let's drop another save, why not? So as far as the plot goes and the way it handles events, we kind of jump around. Generally speaking, we're going to have a couple days where we can kind of wander around and whatnot. Anybody who's played Fire Emblem Three Houses knows that, or will find out, that that game has a lot that it takes from this game specifically. Almost more than I'm comfortable with saying is okay. I'd almost say that it's sort of deliberately pulling a lot from that, but whatever. It's not a super specific concept, but basically we're going to go through our whole school year, and a couple days out of each month we'll get to do some things. Either wander around the school, get to know people, spend some time with everybody, or have some sort of class-related event.
Time to get going.
And we get to see our family there.
Oh, Reen!
What up, Elliot?
Morning, Elliot.
So I guess we're in dorms.
Good morning. Are you heading to school now too? How about we walk there together?
Why not?
Sure. It's getting late though, so we might need to pick up the pace a little.
No problem. I'm guessing everyone else left already, huh?
Oh, we're last to leave. Okay.
I think so. I'm not sensing anyone else on this floor, at least.
Interesting way to put that, Rain.
Gaius in particular is probably long gone by now, being the early riser he is.
Oh, okay then. He's not sensing anyone? What does that mean exactly?
It's interesting to point out that Elliot doesn't have any idea necessarily even what that means. So it is pretty unnatural that he would be able to sense people.
Huh.
Oh, and in like 2 weeks, we still haven't made up.
Yeah. Good morning.
Morning!
Morning.
Are you two on your way to school?
Yeah. Come on, Emma. We're going to be late. Lisa?
So, it's a small point, and we'll notice
We'll
it
see you in class.
as we go. The characters are clearly allowed to accessorize their uniforms a little bit, which is cool. It's nice that every character kind of has slightly different colors and like accessories and the like to distinguish themselves.
Never
And
would've
for
guessed
whatever
she'd
reason,
hold a grudge this long.
it seems the school allows that.
She knows it was just an accident, right? She has to.
So it's interesting that every character gets to kind of wear accessories and stuff to make themselves look unique.
No kidding. She's not even giving me a chance to apologize to her.
Oh, they just haven't spoken at all. Okay.
Well, as long as you keep trying, I'm sure she'll understand. Eventually. Class 7's got enough tension as it is. What with our two, prideful warriors at each other's throats.
Is that really...
So I think it would be a load off everyone's mind if you and Elisa could make up at least.
Wait, are they talking amongst each other to try and convince these two?
I'll certainly do what I can. Whatever that may be.
We'll figure it out. So again, coming back to that, so every character sort of has a slightly unique look. It's a small point, though, but why is everyone's pants or the girls' skirts not the same color? Did they buy them themselves, bring in their own, and we're just kind of getting told, like, wear green or, like, blue or whatever?
These past 2 weeks have really flown by, haven't they?
So it seems like their pants are not part of the uniform.
It's funny. I went into this thinking combat practice would be the toughest part of the curriculum. Never would have guessed the academic side of things might give it a run for its money.
Just like, for example, Elliot here has white sleeves where Reen has red.
Well, strong in body and mind is pretty firmly embedded into Imperial culture.
Oh,
I do
okay.
get what you mean, though. I figured I'd be able to coast through the year, but I've had to very quickly reevaluate that.
So class has been rough. All right.
You too, huh? I wish I were as smart as Machias or Emma. They don't seem to be having any problems at all.
I'm pretty sure they're working pretty hard at it.
But then Emma got the top score on the entrance exam, and I'll bet you anything Machias wasn't far behind.
They do seem the studious types.
I'm sure. Eustace and Elisa are apparently doing really well, too. As are Laura and Gaius.
So we're just the dumb ones. Is that what we're getting at?
Really? Guess I'm just gonna have to suck it up then. Though I really do hope they don't mind.
Huh? I'm not sure I follow.
Oh, sorry. You got me thinking about Eustace and Laura.
How
I've
so?
been talking to them the same way I talk to everybody else, but they're both nobles, right?
Ah. Okay, so there is some tension there, especially for Elliot. It seems like he's kind of uncomfortable about the idea of interacting with nobles. Maybe he doesn't do that often. I mean, clearly commoners don't, but it's interesting that he's the one to keep bringing it up, that it's uncomfortable to talk to them that way.
And Eustace's family rules over the whole eastern side of the empire, so it kind of feels like I should address them more formally.
I guess I could see that.
Well, they both said it was okay, so I wouldn't worry about it too much.
Yeah, in most cases, when you're dealing with somebody in a position of power or celebrity or whatever the case may be, if they tell you to treat them a certain way, it's because they're probably tired of being treated all in any other fashion.
Though you probably shouldn't go picking fights with Eustace every chance you get, like a certain someone else.
That should be kind of self-evident, I hope.
Oh, I don't plan on it. I'd hoped they'd get along a bit better over time, but if anything, things seem to be spiraling downhill fast on that end.
Yeah, I would imagine it only gets worse.
When the two of them are in the same room, there's just this constant tension in the air.
It's not all Machias either. Eustace seems to enjoy provoking him at every opportunity.
Yeah, it's clear the two of them both get a certain amount of enjoyment. I should say enjoyment. They definitely have a certain amount of tension that they're not willing to give up.
I can't even imagine what it would take to make them see eye to eye at this point.
Yeah, I wish there was something we could do to help them get along.
And we got 2 whole years, and it's only been like 2 weeks, so I imagine hurrying this sort of thing along might not be ideal. For now, we have our own problems of trying to get Elisa to even talk to us before we start worrying about trying to fix other people's arguments.
And that's where we'd be if we weren't in Class 7. Dormitory number 2, for all the common folk like us.
Yeah, I guess so, huh? I'm still kind of shocked that Class 7 gets to have its own dormitory.
There's so much about the way these lines are delivered
Though, to
that
be
it's
fair,
clear, like,
I
Reen is
think the
hiding
building was
something here.
abandoned till this year. Seems like they renovated it just for us.
So we have our own separate dorm, which is interesting, right? You have a separate class of, like, melting pot students, so it makes sense to also have them in their own dorm, separate the rest. That's really the only way to
They
handle
did a
that sort
good
of thing.
job. It's got a nice feel to it.
Okay.
I just wish it were a little closer to the academy.
I mean, it's not that
Hey.
much further.
You're in our way. Step aside at once. Class 7, I see.
Is something the matter?
You
You're
got an
just
issue?
a ragtag bunch of nobodies, aren't you?
That's interesting way to put it.
Come on. We're leaving.
Yes, Patrick! A word of advice. You might be part of a special class, but that doesn't change who you are. Never forget your place.
Anytime anyone delivers the line "never forget your place," like that, just those 4 words, the way it's written, immediately creates a tension and like a feeling of vitriol towards that sort of individual. Like anyone reads that line and is like, "Wow, like I can't believe you said that."
So they're from one of the upper classes.
Yeah, I mean the white uniforms kind of give it away.
This is why I hate talking to them.
Unfortunately, that attitude is all too common among the nobles.
It tends to be all too common among nobles in any piece of fiction and in reality, or once upon a time anyway.
Thank goodness Laura and Eustace aren't like that.
Yeah, that would be pretty bad. That's the infamous dormitory number 1, where all the nobility lives.
Oh,
It's
cool.
supposed to be super fancy inside, with maids and butlers and everything.
Wow, really?
Oh, and we're late.
Guess that's our cue to pick up the pace.
Yeah, sorry. Oh, hey, have you picked out a club to join yet? Doesn't sound like you have to or anything, but it's probably a good way to meet people.
No, I'm still looking. It's hard to decide on one.
Can be, yeah. It sounds like they're having a hard enough time with classes, so it's always something to consider. Small tangent. If you're ever going to a school and you're like, hey, I should join a club, make sure you can handle what your current workload is and what your current time commitments are before also trying to add on to that. The sociability aspect of it is certainly
Stand,
worthwhile,
bow.
but can cause other problems. That's a very very Japanese thing here. Clearly Emma is our class rep. Oh, there's an empty seat in the class. Cool.
As I'm sure you're all well aware, the Erebonian Empire was driven to the brink of collapse roughly 250 years ago.
I think that's Talus and Jaffe. Thomas Lysander.
This was brought about by the conflict we know as the War of the Lions.
Okay.
A civil war lasting several years, staged over the throne of the late emperor by the most powerful of his potential successors.
Like almost like an Alexander the Great situation.
But of course, I'm not here to tell you that. If I were, I think even young children would be able to pass this course. Rather, I'd like to discuss the effects this had on the Empire as members of the aristocracy were drawn into the war.
Okay.
Many hired mercenaries turned to looting and pillaging, and a similar trend could even be seen among some of the knights.
That's pretty normal for wars, especially in this kind of era.
The land was left utterly devastated, and morale was at an all-time low.
Long wars tend to have that effect as well, yeah.
But then, lo and behold, into this nightmare stepped a man willing to take a stand against this bloody war of succession. He was a wandering prince who began to rally forces from the outskirts of the empire, and would go on to make quite a name for himself. And that name, of course, was Dreikel's Rysei Arnor.
So Rysei, but they don't want to put the accent on it? Because there should be an accent at the end of that E then. Arnor. Okay.
He would later become known as Dreikel's the Lionheart, the 73rd Emperor of Erebonia, and father of the Renaissance.
Okay, so there were 72 emperors before him.
Not to mention the founder of this very academy.
The amount of if he's the 72nd emperor, I need you to understand, like, if we're talking generationally, like, your emperors are being in place for, like, on average, we say, like, even 10 years. We're talking about a civilization that's been around for 700 years, right? And this was a long time ago, and we're saying it's been, you know, another however long since then. This country has been around a very long time.
Dreikel's army was initially rather small in number. But as he traveled across the Empire, winning over the hearts of influential sympathizers, his forces rapidly increased.
Quite the charismatic figure.
Now, the place where Emperor Dreikel's first began gathering his army was...
So they say the outskirts of the Empire. So.
Schwarzer. Would you care to tell the class?
Dreikel's first started to gather the army was... So they say the outskirts. We've at least heard a little bit about Bereahard, so we know that that's probably not the case. Crossbell seems odd as well. Now, having played through the game, I do know the answer to this question, so we're going to pick the right answer, but the reason why we would come to this is that the Nord Highlands seem like, at least sounds like the place that would be on the outskirts, which is what little information we have to work with right now. I feel like there's somewhere we could have read this in the game that maybe didn't notice, or maybe somebody might have mentioned something, but for now, that's the answer. And also, you'll note... certain parts of this game, and almost the majority probably, of the text is not voiced, so I'm going to read some of it out loud, but not all of it. With the vagabonds, okay. Okay, so he gathered up a bunch of just bruisers and vagabonds, as they put it, in Nord. Just his friends and guys he'd been living with, and traveled south. I'm assuming Nord means north in this context, but perhaps it's somewhere else. Ooh, we got it right. Oh. It's a very low-res thing, but I do think it actually says Nord Highlands there. What, you got a problem, Elisa? Thank you, though, for trying to help. That's cute. Also, it's somewhat amusing that the two of them don't get along, but the two of them are seated directly beside each other. Oh, so another thing we'll notice, AP, academic points, are important. They affect your ranking. Higher ranks give you additional perks and bonuses, and later on we'll get some rewards, like tangible like items and equipment from it. For now, we're going to make a point to try and accomplish everything, like I said, and part of that is getting AP from things like answering these questions correctly, which means that I'm going to try my very best to read everything, understand everything, and...
Nice work, everyone. You made it through another grueling day of classes.
Answer everything as accurately as I can. And again, I do not actually have a guide in front of me. You can believe me or otherwise if you feel so inclined, but I'm trying my best to play the game purely on memory and whatever we learn through playing.
In case you've been living under a rock, please don't forget that tomorrow is your first free day. It's not technically a day off, but there are no classes, so it's up to you what to do with your time.
Isn't that like the very definition of a day off?
Why, you could go shopping in the capital if you wanted to. Or just do what I do and sleep all day. Sleep is so wonderful.
Will the Academy's facilities still be open for our use?
Yes, I'd like to be able to use the free study area in the library myself.
Of course! This school shuts down for no one, so feel free to patronize any and all facilities as you like.
Okay.
A lot of clubs have meets scheduled for these free days as well, so anyone who's joined one should probably check on that.
Good to know.
I see.
I'll be certain to do so.
Also, before you leave, we should go over what's happening next week.
Oh?
On Wednesday, you all have your practical exam.
Okay.
A practical exam?
Haven't we been in class for like 2
What
weeks?
does that entail? It's part of your combat training. You'll be graded on your performance, so make sure you're well rested and ready for battle by then. Might be a good idea to do some training on your own time too, just to keep from getting rusty.
Okay.
Interesting.
I definitely don't like the sound of that.
I think it sounds awesome, Elliot.
Oh, And one more thing. After the practical exam is over, I've got another important announcement.
Oh, awesome.
About a major part of Class 7's curriculum that I haven't mentioned at all yet.
Isn't that kind of not done? So generally speaking, you would establish this kind of thing on a syllabus, like, immediately.
What?
Here it comes.
So, whatever you choose to do on your free day, make it count for something. That concludes today's homeroom. Machias, if you'll do the honors.
Yes, instructor. All rise. Bow.
Okay. Well, I guess class is over. The fact that the models kind of bump over the door frame is kind of amusing. What are you worried about, Elliot? Ah, you'll be fine. Yeah, I mean, heck, let's fight. Oh yeah, this is what I mean when I say picking up a club could cause problems. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, pretty much anything can benefit from a violin. Something like that. Oh, that's cool. Damn it, Reen. Yeah, it's never a bad idea to go get some, like, formal training. Not necessarily every time. You don't necessarily need to be formally trained in anything to be good at it, but it can always accelerate the process. So I definitely think that that's something that's interesting to note for Gaius here, that he wants to get some actual artistic schooling. Yes, instructor? Oh, that's never good. Oh, okay. What? Okay, whatever. Yeah, why the heck not? I mean, these two have clubs, clearly, so we're really the only one with free time. Yeah, if we just drop in, it'll be no problem. Yeah, see? Reen's got the right of it. Yeah, why the heck not? Student Union building, okay. Everything in our capable hands. The emphasis there, questionable.